So I went to the bike shed event in Tobacco Dock and always wanted to build a calf racer, interested in all that kind of stuff. So I thought, well, I've been watching a couple of vlogs from Del Boy and For the Bold. So I thought, right, always loved a Moto Guzzi. So went out and bought a Moto Guzzi Grizzo. So I thought, well, I'll have a go at this vlogging lark and see how we get on. Just for the record, I do appreciate that Moto Guzzis are pronounced Guzzi, as in pizza, as I've seen loads and loads of comments. People seem to take great offence to the fact that we mispronounce it. But in England, people say Guzzi. So when in Rome, be a Roman. No offence intended to our Italian friends, and yeah, we just say Guzzi. What do I like about the Guzzi? I had a 1200 Sport before, like the engine, like the way it pulls, like the whole Italian thing. Love Ducatis as well. My brother's got a Benelli, or did have until last week, and really into the 1200 Guzzi. Grizzo, a little bit more sporty in its ride. The 1200 Sport's got a bit of a big end, bit of a fat sort of bum on it. So let's have a look and see what we like. I was looking at some vlogs, and one of the calf racer designers said, I think it was regards to the CX500, but said it was all about the engine, and I couldn't agree more. So if we look at the that's a big old lump, and I love the way it sticks out the side. When you rev it, it almost rocks off the stand. Unusual to have the oil cooler mounted on the side like that, but I quite like that because that's a bit quirky. Like the overall design and styling, it's quite nice. Unusual again to have the exhaust on the left hand side. That's not the standard exhaust. And there's lots that I like about the bike. Things I don't like about it so much, there's an awful lot of chrome. So this rack, not keen on the rack. I understand why people have them. I don't like the cluttered back end, not keen on the back light. All the little bits of chrome here, not so keen on the silver frame. And the front end is just littered with chrome. Mirrors, bar ends, levers, yoke, big old petrol cap on it, risers, headlamp, indicators, even a silver part of the mudguard. So hopefully over the weeks that will go. What I'm not looking to do is kind of like a complete renovation, strip it right down, powder coat the frame and all the rest of it. This is an ongoing project. I'm not going to be knocking out videos 2 a week. Those guys, For the Bold and Del Boy, wow, you guys must have some understanding partner or wife. But probably getting out 1 video a month, maybe, depending on how much time I get, and you know, just see how we go in terms of design. Bear with me with all the camera angles and everything else. In terms of getting out shot a bit wobbly. It's all been done on an iPhone. I may progress to something a bit more sophisticated later on if it goes well. That's even if this gets on YouTube. Let's have a look. In terms of what I'm planning to do, I think from the front end, what I'd like to do is strip off all these handlebars and risers, and drop the yoke, drop the forks through the yoke, and put some clip-ons on the top of the forks as they come through the yokes. Similar to my other ride, it's a sporty ride, a sporty position, but it's not too harsh on your elbows and wrists. We're all getting a bit older, and I want something a little bit more comfortable. Still thinking at the moment to keep it a twin seat, but certainly looking to change the mudguard a little bit. Clocks, I do like the clocks, very nice. Digital speedo, really good, but just too big. Other things I'm looking to change, this bit here, quite chunky. I'm not sure really what's under there yet, I haven't taken it apart. Maybe thinking about removing and maybe making something a bit more slimmer there. Foot pegs aren't too bad. Want to lose the whole back end, including the back light, maybe even the lower half of this subframe, and make it into just a seat, so it's a much clearer sort of back end to it. The rack actually is a really cool bit of kit. It's made by the previous owner, Andrew, who is an engineer, and this is solid aluminium, all chrome plated. Really, really clever bit of kit. So that's way too good to throw away, so I might be putting that on eBay for anyone that's looking for a really nice rack. This is my other ride, my regular ride, and it's an absolute beast. It's the Ducati Supersport S. I can't fault it. Absolutely brilliant. So it's got these sort of clip-ons off the top of the forks, bolted to the yokes, which is really good. Full digital dash, ABS, 9 levels of traction control, handles really, really well. Sounds brilliant. Has got such a lovely bubble when you decelerate. It's got the full Öhlins package, fully adjustable, which I've had set up. The only thing I can't really do with it is tinker with it. I've changed the backlight and for a tail tidy. I've also put a bar end mirror on because these mirrors are only really good for looking at your elbows. And that's about it. What else is there to improve upon, really? So if you like it, subscribe if you find it interesting. I'm not a hipster. I'm not doing it for money. It's just for fun, and I'm looking to sort of provide a calf racer style Moto Guzzi Grizzo, which changes it. There's nothing wrong with the bike. Lots of people have them. They're a little bit quirky, a little bit unusual, but I love the bike. But I want to make it a calf racer for me, for fun. Right, this is the first exhaust. It's carbon fibre. It was on the bike. It's obviously not the standard exhaust. There's some DOT approval stampings on the back, but I think it's highly unlikely to be legal. And it's got a really big bore on it, so it's quite a chunky monkey. Let's have a little bit of a sound test. That'll make your ears bleed for sure. As I said, the guy who I bought the bike off, he was an engineer, and as good all engineers do, he built his own centre stand, which basically just bolts together like that. You've got wheels on the bottom, and then you just operate it on. He put some bobbins on the frame. You slide it over the bobbins, bolt the two halves together, and then you just flip it up like a centre stand. So I'll be doing that, and I'm going to start stripping off some of the bits that I don't require. I've never done this before, hopefully it won't go crashing down. And there we have it. Yep, that's a much higher and stable platform to work on, so that's a cracking bit of kit. Well done, Andrew. Right, let's just get cracking now on stripping that back end off. So that's the seat, the cowling, side panel, tail unit integrated, and the light unit and under tray all removed. It was really held on, loads of screws, very well put together. And I think I'm going to have a little play around at some point and decide whether to. I definitely don't like the light unit, so that's coming away, and whether or not to retain any part of the cowling and put a new light unit in, or whether to remove the cowling entirely, maybe even remove and weld up and remove this bottom part here, and then put a hoop in around the back of the seat release, just so we can put a much more aesthetically pleasing brake light in there. So I'm going to have a little play around and see what I can sort of design and come up with. A little bit nervous about removing this part of the frame if I'm going to take a pillion, because it goes right the way back to the original bit down here. So I think that's a fair bit of the core strength. So yeah, we'll have a look at that and have a think about that and maybe do it in stages. Okay.